If you're interested in selling on Amazon, I want you to keep an eye out for the 6 biggest lies about selling on Amazon that I see on YouTube today. Welcome to FBA Unfiltered. If you're new here, my name is Taylor. On this channel, we're documenting step by step launching this new product on Amazon FBA. And today I want to share with you the 6 biggest lies that I see spreading around on YouTube when it comes to selling on Amazon. So let's break them down. Lie number 1 is that you can start selling on Amazon for $500 or $1,000 or even $2,000 and get everything up and running. But this is just wrong on a few different levels. First off, if that's really your mindset coming into selling on Amazon, I don't think you've quite understood what it takes to succeed at the level that I think most people want to succeed at. What do I mean? Well, essentially, let's say you want to make $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month in profit from your Amazon business. Now, do you really think you're going to get to that figure by investing $500? I mean, if you know of an investment that turns $500 into $20,000 a month, please let me know. I'd love to hear about it, but that is just not a reality that I've ever experienced. Instead, it's much more likely that the amount of money that you are willing to invest in your Amazon business is going to be directly correlated to the amount of money you're going to make. Another issue with this line of reasoning is that it doesn't really consider your actual costs when it comes to selling on Amazon. Now, if you saw my previous video, you might know exactly what I'm talking about, and that is actually the cost of placing your second manufacturer order, because you probably haven't recouped all of your initial investment from your startup costs and your first production run before it comes time to place that second order with the manufacturer, which means you're going to need to have more capital on hand. So for these reasons, I really don't think it's realistic or even very helpful to assume that you could start selling on Amazon profitably for less than about $5,000 to $10,000 of initial investment. That's right, $5,000 is what I would say is the absolute minimum, with somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000 being a more appropriate number for how much you should be anticipating to invest in your Amazon business from the start. I know that's not what you hear from a lot of these YouTubers talking about their Amazon success, but hey, most of those guys want to sell you on the idea that it's cheap, easy, and passive to start selling on Amazon. And in my experience, that's just not the right way to set yourself up for success. All right, lie number 2. This one cracks me up. This is the fixation on the $10,000 a month product. I don't know where this hyperfixation came from, but everywhere I look, I see someone hyping up another $10,000 a month product on Amazon. And it's just ridiculous, because what they're not telling you is that these are revenue figures. They're talking about $10,000 a month in top line revenue, which in reality, if they're operating at a 20% overall margin, is only going to net them $2,000 a month. And then you're going to pay taxes. So I don't know who needs to hear this, but please stop with the $10,000 a month spam products. This is just such a strange way to me of looking for product opportunities and measuring success, because in neither of those areas do I think $10,000 a month in revenue has anything to do with your actual results. In my mind, it's much more reasonable to work from the actual net profit that you would like to make per month and work backwards from there. So determine from there, at what price point would you need to sell X amount of units per month in order to hit a revenue figure that, after factoring your profit margin, will leave you with the net profit that you actually would like to see in your bank account every month. What is your actual goal? Set a specific goal, whether it is a net profit, maybe it's a take-home amount after taxes, and then work backwards from there, determine a revenue, and move forward, okay? But the $10,000 a month product thing is just, it's crazy to me. It's really not as good as it seems. I think you would be shocked at the amount of work that it takes to find and launch a product on Amazon, and for it to just do $10,000 a month at a 20% margin might not be worth your time and effort. All right, lie number 3, moving on now to another one that cracks me up, and this is the myth that there is some magic setting on Helium 10 or Jungle Scout that will just crank out winning product opportunities for you time and time again. I hear this all the time from prospective students. They come to me and they ask, hey, what settings do I need to put in my Helium 10 search filters so I can find a product with tons of demand and zero competition? And my answer is always, I don't know. If you figure that out, let me know. I'd love to know that setting, but it just doesn't exist. That's not the way this game works. If that was the case, then everyone would know about it and everyone would still be fighting for those same products. So that's really not a productive mindset to have when it comes to product research. And there is no magic setting. There's no toggle you can turn on your helium 10. There's no fancy code that like drifted down like manna from heaven and programmed someone's jungle scout so that they always find winning products. That's just not the way this works in reality. Now, one of the reasons why I think this myth is so prevalent is because a lot of the people pushing this content have an online course for sale, and they are trying to differentiate by coming up with their formula, their 10-step plan to find winning products, right? Their specific rules, their proprietary formula that's going to crank out winning product opportunities that they can then pitch and sell to you as a prospective student. And I don't want to be misunderstood, okay? The rules and the basics are important to learn when you're a student, right? Just like in any endeavor, you're going to start with some basic rules and guidelines to follow so that you get in the ballpark. But the whole point of learning is to grow and move past that beginner level. So you need to learn the concepts that underlie the rule set that you initially learned verbatim so that you can start to play with it, so that you can find the exceptions to the rules, so that you can think outside of the box and find those product opportunities that nobody else is thinking about, because that's where your real success will be found. So there's really no way around it. You're going to actually have to learn and build experience when it comes to identifying demand, comparing the competition, and finding products that stand out in a niche, okay? This is a skill set that comes with experience, and you're gonna have to go through that process and develop that skill set and that experience as you go. It's not as simple as just copy and pasting someone else's formula into helium 10. All right, the next biggest lie that I see propagating on YouTube about selling on Amazon is even that there is such a thing as a winning product. This whole concept, being product focused, I think is super problematic, because when you think about it, an experienced seller and a beginning seller could both start with the same basic product concept, and the experienced seller is going to go on to have way more success. How could that possibly be if it's the same product? Well, really, the issue comes down to the fact that it's not about the product per se, it's about giving value to a specific customer, a specific person that you have in mind that you want to serve and that you want to provide value to. That is where the money making happens. Because in a free market, that's how money is exchanged. Someone is going to give you money when they feel that the value they receive at that point in time from your product is greater than the amount of money that they're giving you. That's the exchange. And so when you really get down to selling on Amazon, or in any business for that matter, it's much more about understanding your customer and what makes them tick. What are their pains? What are their problems? And what are the solutions that you can offer them that will provide them the value that they want? And in exchange, they'll give you the money that you want. This hyper focus on winning products, I think, totally derails the thought process here and really takes you in the wrong direction. So what I would encourage you to do instead is to focus on the customer. Who do you want to serve, and how can you bring them the most value possible? If you can answer those two questions very precisely, you're probably going to find a lot more success regardless of the actual product that you choose to be the vehicle of that delivery of value. And the last thing I want to throw in regards to this lie is that it's problematic for another reason, which is that in today's state of selling on Amazon, it's my conviction that you need to be building a brand. So this isn't about finding one-off products that you're just going to drop into the pond. This is about developing a brand identity that you can use as a platform to add a whole product suite in order to serve a particular customer base. Just focusing on particular winning products, I think, is a terrible strategy moving forward on Amazon. Instead, focus on the customer and building a brand. All right, and lie number 5, second to last lie we're covering in this video, and that is the lie of passive income. I know people hate to hear this, but this is the truth, that in my experience, selling on Amazon is not as passive as these YouTube Amazon gurus would lead you to believe. Now, it's all relative, right? I come from a background where I was working 12-hour shifts. Now that I do Amazon full-time, I don't have to work a 12-hour shift. So yes, managing my Amazon business is much more passive than working a 12-hour shift. However, it was not like that in the beginning, right? Because in the beginning, I had to work the 12-hour shift and I had to build the business. So it was actually more work in the beginning to get this all started. And that, I think, is the biggest reason why people fail when it comes to starting their business is that the gap, the leap of going from 0 to 1 is quite difficult. Okay, that's the step that takes everyone out. Going from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 and so on, those incremental steps get easier and easier once you've made that first leap of getting the business off the ground. But that first step is challenging because you're going to have to be doing essentially 2 jobs at once. Unless you have already established yourself and don't have a job and you can fund your business another way, you're probably going to be working while you're starting your Amazon business. And so don't get fooled, all right? Starting this business is going to take some work. It's not going to be passive in the beginning. Going forward, like I said, it will become more passive, but that's also going to take work. It's kind of counterintuitive, but for the business to become more and more passive, you actually have to work in order to set up the systems and the protocols in order to hire people and bring on assistants so that they can do the work for you. So again, it's a lot of upfront work in order to set up a passive income stream. It's not just passive from day one. All right, and the last lie number 6 that we're gonna cover in this video is kind of a mouthful. It kind of encompasses a lot, but it's essentially the idea that you need to master Facebook ads and a GoFundMe and Google ads, and you need to be a content creator on Instagram and TikTok, and you have to do all of these other things in addition to launching your Amazon business. Now, the reason why I think this happens and gets in people's heads is because these are typically all of the bonus features that these people are adding on to their online course. They're trying to beef up their offer. They're trying to add value to their offer and make it enticing to students to buy. And so they add all of these additional courses, right? They've got a mini course on Google Ads. They've got a mini course on starting crowdfunding on Kickstarter or GoFundMe. They've got a mini course on how to build an online community, a Facebook group or something like this. And then people end up starting the program and getting totally overwhelmed, thinking, oh my gosh, I have to do all of this other stuff in addition to getting this business off the ground. And I don't want you to misunderstand me. There are a lot of pros that come along with being able to have your own audience to join you as you launch your product, to be potential first customers. That can really help as you launch. But it shouldn't distract you from your main objective, which is getting that product to launch on Amazon. Start with one thing in mind, execute that one thing well. Don't try to start 5 different things at once, because you're just going to be terrible at 5 things instead of being terrible at one thing until you're good at that one thing and then moving on to the next. So don't get bogged down trying to be a jack of all trades. Trust me, you're already going to be wearing enough hats just starting your own Amazon business, because you're going to have to be managing supply side logistics. You're going to have to be setting up your ad campaigns. You're going to be having to develop your listings and your product photography, right? So you're already going to be doing a lot. Don't overwhelm yourself by feeling like you have to master all of these different things as well. The truth is that when you start selling on Amazon, you're going to have to pursue one goal with single-minded focus. And this is going to be a lot harder than you think. At least it was for me, because what tends to happen is you have idea number 1, right? And you think, God, this is such a great idea. I'm going to crush it. And you go to turn idea number 1 into reality. And that's when you realize that the gap between idea and reality is a lot harder to cover than you first thought. And then what happens? Well, then you think, well, you know what it is? It's actually because idea number 2 is better. So then you quit on idea 1, you jump over to idea number 2, but what happens? Oh my gosh, that gap between idea and reality slaps you in the face again. And now you're thinking, you know what would be better than this is idea number 3. And so the cycle continues and you never actually make any progress on any one idea, because you just give up and go for the next shiny object. In my opinion, what you have to do instead is take those initial punches. You got to hang in there, take the punches while you're learning, deal with the initial setbacks and frustrations, and hang in the fight, because you're in it for the long haul, okay? We're looking for that victory in round 9, 10, whatever the end of the fight is. That's our goal. We can't just dip out in the first round when things get tough and hop over to a different ring. Okay, stay in the ring, hang in there, and try to execute on your one plan and see it through to the end, because that is where the real success is. All right, everyone, that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know down below in the comments, what are the biggest lies that you see about selling on Amazon today in 2025. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If this video gave you some insight, please leave a like. And remember, we're going to be launching this new product in just a couple weeks. So if you want to follow along with our breakdown live of our first week of sales figures, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.